Hello everyone, and welcome to the Geography S5 lesson that you're supposed to do for this term. So the topic that S5 students is supposed to cover this term is industry. And we are going to have a series of lessons on the topic, and you will see that it's not a new topic. It is a topic that you did in S3. So the first part of the lesson will be just to recap what you've done in S3. Okay, so we get right into it. The objectives that you're supposed to cover in S5 based on this topic is to demonstrate an understanding of an industrial system, that is the input, the processes, outputs, which includes the products and the waste, the different industry types. We're talking about manufacturing industries, processing industries, assembly, and high-tech industries. And also, we're going to describe and explain the different factors that influence the distribution and location of factories and industrial zone. So let's get to it. So first of all, what is an industry? Okay, so an industry is any type of economic activity involved with the processing of raw materials, manufacturing of goods, and delivering of services. So any industry that gets a profit from manufacturing goods, from delivering services, or for turning raw materials into finished products, these are known as industries. So, classification of industry. If you recall back to the topics that you did in S3, you learn that industries can be classified into 3 categories. Let's see if you remember them. Okay? So, the 3 classification of industries, first of all, primary industry. I'm sure you're starting to remember now. Secondary industries and tertiary industries. So those are the 3 categories of industries that you learn about when you were in S3. So, do you remember what each industry is about now? Okay? Primary industries. So, take a look on your right. There's 3 possible answers for primary industries. The first one is turning raw materials into finished product in manufacturing industries. The second one is industries that provide services. The third one is extracting raw materials from the land and sea. So based on your previous knowledge, which one do you think applies for primary industries? Okay, so if you said extracting raw materials from the land and sea, then very good. So primary industries is all about extracting raw materials. When we are talking about raw materials, we are talking about the materials in their natural form. So if we are talking about oil, we are talking about the crude oil, the dark oil that people extract from the earth. If we're talking about iron, we are talking about the iron ore that is extracted from the earth. And when we are talking about from the sea, we're talking about fish, we're talking about corals, we're talking about other life forms that people can extract from the sea. Okay, so this is for primary industry. Now, the second one is secondary industry. So, which one is for secondary industry? The turning raw materials into finished products, or industries that provide services? Okay, I'm sure you remember from your days in S3 that secondary industries are industries that turn the raw materials that is extracted from the primary industry into finished products in manufacturing industries. So when we're talking about manufacturing industry, we're talking about factories, okay? So those materials that they get it in a raw form, and in those factories, in secondary industries, those products, those raw materials are turned into products. Finally, we've got tertiary industries, and of course, there's only one answer left. So tertiary industries are industries that provide services. So we are talking about industries that do not produce any goods, but they provide services to people. For example, health care provides services. Education, they provide services. Tourism, they provide services. Okay? So those are the three types of industries that you learn about in S3. The primary industry, secondary industry, and tertiary industry. But there is another fourth type of industry. So this is known as quaternary industry. It is an extension of the primary, secondary, and tertiary industry. And this type of industry, it deals with knowledge-based information. So everything that has to do with consultation, research, finance, media, information technology, culture, government, all of these falls under quaternary industries. Okay, so but most of the time, when you get questions, they might ask you about the three main type of industries. So you answer primary, secondary, and tertiary industries. Okay, now let's see if you will be able to do some example of the three types of industries. Okay, we've got some different industries. Health, manufacturing of steel, farming, retail, food processing, education, forestry, motor vehicles manufacturing, fishing, quarrying, textile, transportation, mining, and designing. So these are different types of industries. We will see if together we can categorize them into primary, secondary, and tertiary industry. Okay? So let's start with health. So under which category do you think health falls under? Okay? If you said tertiary industry, very good. Health, we provide service to people. The second one is manufacturing of steel and iron. So this secondary industry, very good, because iron ore and other metals is turned into steel and iron in a factory. The third one is farming. Farming is a topic that you just did, so I'm sure you will get this right. Which one, under which category does it fall? So if you said primary industries, very good. The next one is retail. So we're talking about shops selling different things like clothes, food, and all that. So under which category does it fall? If you said tertiary industries, very good. Okay, the next industry that we're going to look at is food processing industries. So we are talking about industries that makes like frozen vegetables that your parents can use in the different types of dishes that you like. So under which category do you think that one falls into? Okay, if you said secondary industries, very good. Next one is education. Okay, so we know what education is about now. Under which category will it fall? If you said tertiary industries, very good. So the next industry that we're going to look at is forestry. So we are talking about industries that have companies that go into rainforest and cut down trees. So this falls into, if you said primary industry, very good. Next one, motor vehicles manufacturing. So making of cars and buses and all that. So under which category will it fall? If you said secondary industries, very good. Next one, fishing. We know that, extracting fish from the sea. So this one falls under primary industries, very good if you got that one. So the next company is quarrying. So we're talking about companies such as UCPS and CCCL that blast rocks so that people in the construction business can use. So this falls under primary industries. So if you said primary industries, very good. Next one, textile. We are talking about the making of clothes and cloths and other things. This one will fall under secondary industry. Very good if you got that one correct. Next one, transportation companies such as SPTC. So this one will fall under tertiary industries. Mining, so we are talking about extracting precious metals and other materials from the ground, such as diamonds and gold. This falls under primary industry. And finally, we've got designing. So this we're talking about such firms such as architectural firms, and this falls under tertiary industries because they provide a service as well. So let's recap what we've learned today. What is an industry? So I'll give you a few minutes to think back to see whether you can remember what we said an industry is. Okay? So, any type of economic activity involved with processing of raw materials, manufacturing of goods, and delivering of services. What are the 4 classifications of industries? This one is very easy. Like I said, you did it in S3. So the 4 categories, first one, primary industry. Second one, secondary industry. Third one, tertiary industry. And the last one, quaternary industry. Okay, if you manage to get all that correct, very good. The next question, what happens in a primary industry? So, this is the extraction of raw materials from the land and the sea. Second one, what happens in a secondary industry? Okay, so this one, manufacture of raw materials into finished products. So turning those raw materials into finished products in different factories. Next one, what is a tertiary industry? So the tertiary industry is an industry that provides a service. And the last one, what are knowledge-based industries called? And these are quaternary industries. So we've come to the end of our first series of lessons on industry. I would like to thank you for following. I hope you join me next time where we'll be looking at industries as a system. In the meantime, take the time to research about this, and next time when you're ready to follow the lesson, you will already have knowledge about it. Thank you. Until next time.